What up, y'all? This is your boy, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio for Wednesday, July 15, 2015, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo, that's RAYMELO, or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and they'll take you to the page. Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams got some good news and bad news from the legal system on Tuesday. In the ongoing copyright infringement saga surrounding the hit song Blurred Lines, a federal judge listened to the $7.4 million judgment that was landed down to the family of the deceased singer Marvin Gaye, knocking the payout down to $5.3 million. On the downside for the Blurred Lines duo, the judge rejected Thicke's bid for a new trial in the matter. The Gaye family also lost their bid for an injunction that would have blocked the song from distribution. The judge did, however, set a 50% royalty rate for songwriter and publishing revenues. In his order, U.S. District Judge John A. Cronstadt specifically stated that the damages awarded against Williams were excessive, as it had not been shown that Williams was a practical partner of Thicke's, and thus it is only liable for his share of the profits for the song. In terms of the damages reduction, the actual damages were knocked down from $4 million to just under $3.2 million, while the award of profits from Williams was knocked down from just over $1.6 million to $357,000 and change. The family of Marvin Gaye prevailed at trial in March after arguing that Blurred Lines infringed on Gaye's 1977 hit single, Got to Give It Up. The verdict was controversial, given that the infringement appeared to reside in the similarities of feel between the two songs. Universal Music Group, also named as a defendant in the suit, had no comment for the rap, nor did attorneys for Thicke and Williams. Richard Bush, an attorney for two of the Gaye children, told the Rap that, quote, "We are thrilled with the decision." Bush said, "We are reviewing and digesting the decision. Obviously, we are thrilled with the decision by the court, not only affirming the decision of the court that Mr. Thicke and Mr. Williams committed copyright infringement, but also the decision holding Mr. Williams and Universal liable as well, and ordering that the defendants pay the Gaye family 50% of all publishing revenues from Blurred Lines going forward." He also added, "As far as the reduction in damages, we are reviewing that and the court's analysis on that issue, and will be discussing internally our options." Paul Phillips, attorney for Marvin Gaye III, told the Rap, "We are thankful for the conscientious work the court has continued to pour into the case and all of its complexities. In terms of today's post-trial rulings, we are obviously pleased that justice prevailed in just the manner that we would have thought it would." He also added, "It is clear that the positions taken by Mr. Thicke and his team at trial weren't any more persuasive today than they were when the jury came down on the side of the Gaye family in March of this year. And while we're thrilled with where we are in the case, at the moment we are fully prepared for whatever steps the Thicke parties may elect to take next. Until now, they've only delayed the inevitable." Real estate mogul and presidential candidate Donald Trump is pretty active and boisterous on Twitter, but he might want to proofread his tweets going forward. The presidential candidate's account tweeted out a flag-draped image superimposed next to Trump that has stock images of what looks like soldiers from decades ago. The problem is that they're Nazi soldiers. The soldiers were wearing uniforms of the Waffen-SS, a unit that served as the comeback of the Schutzstaffel, according to the Jewish Virtual Library. The Trump campaign was blaming an intern for the now-deleted tweet. Campaign spokesperson said a young intern created and posted the image and did not see the very faded figures within the flags of the stock photo. The intern apologized and immediately deleted the tweet. On CNN Tuesday, campaigner manager Corey Lewandowski reiterated that the intern did it, minimizing the error. "It's a very small piece in a faded flag." About the only winner on Sunday night's Miss USA pageant was Miss Oklahoma, Olivia Jordan, who walked away with the crown. The ratings plummeted from last year, and Reels lost money on the broadcast network. CEO Stan E. Hubbard told the Rap Tuesday. Hubbard said, "Did we break even on our financial investment? We did not, but we didn't lose a lot of money. What the network did reap," he added, was some standing in the industry and some standing with viewers, and that is hard to come by. We didn't expect that we'd get our return or investment." The live telecast of the Miss USA pageant and a rebroadcast immediately after drawing a combined 2.5 million viewers, according to Reels. That number is less than half of the 5.5 million that NBC drew the Miss USA in 2014, but it was enough to make the Sunday night's pageant the second most watched premiere on Reels history behind 2011's The Kennedys. Reels picked up the broadcast rights for no more than $100,000 after NBC and Univision dropped out as TV partners, as the rap reported exclusively earlier this month. The pageant had become ensnarled in the controversy surrounding co-owner and presidential hopeful Donald Trump's campaign trail remarks referring to undocumented Mexican immigrants as rapists. The pageant co-hosts and judges also departed, forcing producers to turn to new on-air talent less than a week before the broadcast. In that environment, Reels found little success selling advertisers on the competition. The network reached out to some 700 agencies people, according to Hubbard, but there were few takers. Hubbard said, I would say almost universally we've heard you're doing the right thing and we're glad you're doing it, he explained. What we've heard from most then was, but this is so politically charged, we just can't let our brand be near it. Hubbard estimated that out of roughly 45 minutes of the non-programmed time in the live show's 3 hours, we had probably 15 minutes of paid ads. The rest of the time went to network promos and PSAs. Reels offered to run PSAs for multiple Hispanic organizations, but were turned down by all. While the network failed to break even on the pageant, he did exceed Hubbard's ratings expectations. He said, I think if we doubled our normal Sunday night, I'd be happy. But we did probably 10 times our normal Sunday night. Newly crowned Miss USA Olivia Jordan chalked up Donald Trump's controversial comments about Mexican immigrants being rapists to free speech in an interview with CNN's Don Lemon on Tuesday. Mr. Trump is running for president and he needs to get out issues that are important to him, and immigration is certainly a hot topic issue that everyone's talking about. I think that it's good to talk about immigration, Jordan said. He has the right to free speech in his own opinion. She also added the pageant is in many ways very separate from him and is certainly separate from the presidential race. Jordan assured Lemon that the pageant community is very diverse and that diversity is celebrated. She also revealed that Miss Universe 2014 Paulina Vega, a native of Colombia and who recently took Trump to task over its comments, is now her roommate. Jordan, Miss Oklahoma, was crowned the 2015 winner of the Miss USA pageant Sunday night. NBC and Spanish-language broadcaster Univision dropped the pageant in June, following comments made by Trump at a campaign event in which he referred to undocumented immigrants as rapists. Reels picked up the pageant's broadcast rights for no more than $100,000, as the Wrap reported exclusively. Trump posted the tweet that he would not attend Sunday's ceremony because he was busy campaigning. There is no truth to a report that comedian George Lopez is in talks to replace Donald Trump as the host of NBC's The Celebrity Apprentice, an individual acknowledged of the search told the Wrap. Lopez was said to be in initial conversations with the network to take over the franchise, according to a New York Post report on Tuesday. The network split with presidential contender Donald Trump over his comments about Mexicans this month. Page 6 quoted an unidentified source as saying, if in a story published on Tuesday evening, there have been initial conversations with George Lopez's representatives, and given Donald Trump's crazy comments, George would be the perfect loud response to Trump. Mexican-American Lopez is known for firing off jokes about Latino culture and racism in his stand-up comedy and for his self-titled ABC TV series that ran from 2002 to 2007, as well as his TBS talk show Lopez Tonight. Requests for Lopez did not immediately return the Wrap's request for comments. Amy Poehler and Tina Fey tear up the dance floor in the first trailer for Universal Pictures' December 18th comedy Sisters. The Saturday Night Live alums appear as siblings returning to their family home only to find their parents have sold out from under them. A trip down memory lanes while packing up their childhood mementos sparked the brilliant idea to throw the epic house party they never had. Pitch Perfect director Jason Moore helmed Sisters with a screenplay by SNL's Paula Pell. Maya Rudolph, John Cena, Diane Weiss, and James Brolin are among the stars who will appear in the movie. The release will top off a stellar year for Universal Pictures, which sped past $1 billion in June and shattered the domestic box office mark in record time on the same weekend that Jurassic World broke the record for the biggest U.S. box office opening ever. The dinosaur sequels passed the 1 billion mark at the global box office for just 13 days, breaking the record set by the studio's Furious 7, which crossed a milestone in 17 days back in April. With an outstanding overseas debut of Minions, along with Jurassic World's dominance, Universal's 2015 overseas box office grosses have crossed $3 billion, the fastest that any studio reached a milestone in history. Jesse Eisenberg's Comic-Con experience wasn't that of a joy. Eisenberg, who plays Lex Luthor in the upcoming Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, was at the massive San Diego convention last week with co-stars Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. In an interview Monday, he was talking negatively about the experience. He said, "It is like being screamed at by thousands of people. I don't know what the experience is throughout history, probably some kind of genocide. I can't think of anything that's equivalent." Eisenberg spoke at the premiere of End of the Tour with Jason Segel about the release of David Foster Wallace's novel Infinite Jest. Segel plays Wallace, while Eisenberg plays journalist David Lipsky. He said, "Yes, I have never been on the other side, on your side of journalism, have normally been the victim, so I worked with the guy who I played. I played a real person, David Lipsky. I interviewed him, he taught me how to interview and what his process is like, and now I understand the pariahs that you guys are." ABC's The View is once again looking to add to its roster. Good Morning America Weekend co-anchor Paula Faris is in talks to join the daytime talk show, The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. It is unclear whether Faris will be a permanent addition to the show or just one of the several rotating voices. She has appeared multiple times on the show as a guest co-host. Reports of Faris' addition comes one day after comedian Michelle Collins officially joined and 1 month after the addition of Raven Simone. The View's talented lineup has been in flux all season after the ABC program underwent a major overhaul in the summer of 2014, at which point Rosie Perez, Nicole Wallace, and Rosie O'Donnell agreed on. O'Donnell departed in February and Perez left a week ago. It hasn't yet been determined if Wallace will return next season, but series vet Whoopi Goldberg along with Simone and Collins are expected to come back. Faris has been an ABC News since 2012 and has been co-anchor of GMA Weekend since 2014. ABC would not comment on reports of Faris' addition to this show. The View returns for season 19 in September. The evening news rating seesaw continues to tweeter, now falling back in favor of NBC. 3 weeks into Lester Holt's official tenure as anchor of nightly news and 5 months after he took Brian Williams' old seat, the nightly broadcast has regained number one status for the 2014-2015 season. Nightly is now outperforming ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir by a narrow margin of 5,000 viewers in the key news demographic, averaging 2.086 million adults, 25 to 54. Among total viewers, NBC still holds a strong advantage of 355,000 viewers with its average 8.784 million. The week of July 6, Holt's third since seeing his name tacked onto the broadcast brought his third consecutive demo win. Nightly averaged 1.959 million adults, 25 to 54, compared to World's 1.781 million. NBC and ABC's back and forth in the ratings race has played out like a tennis match for the last year, and the past few months proving especially tight. When ABC took the lead for the season over NBC back in June, it marked the first time in almost 20 years. And given how narrow the gap is at the moment, it could easily snap back in ABC's favor. David Muir, who was off the first week of July, has brought stability and growth to world news in the wake of Diane Sawyer's 2014 departure. It's something NBC is likely to hope to duplicate now that Holt is a new permanent fixture. Sinead OConnor, no stranger to voicing her opinion, is blasting Rolling Stone for featuring Kim Kardashian in a particularly busty top, no less, on the cover of the magazine's most recent issue. O'Connor, who appeared on 3 Rolling Stone covers herself in a Facebook post Tuesday afternoon, said, "What is this C doing over on the cover of Rolling Stones? Music has officially died. Who knew it would be Rolling Stone that murder it? Simon Cowell and Lewis Walsh can no longer be expected to take all the blame. Bob Dylan must be fucking horrified. This is, of course, far from the first time that O'Connor had weighed in about people in the public eye who upset her, recalling the Miley Cyrus open letters in 2013. It is the latest in a long line of individuals who have been blasted as being unworthy on a Rolling Stones cover. After filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy Monday morning, 50 Cent addressed the issues for the first time later that day, calling it a business move to reorganize his finances. Rapper, actor, mogul, real name Curtis Jackson, told E! News at his Southpaw junket, "I'm taking the precautions that any other good business person would take in this situation. You know, when you're successful and stuff, you become a target. I don't want to be a bull's eye. I don't want anybody to pick me as the guy that they just come to with astronomical claims and go through all that." On Friday, a jury ordered 50 Cent to pay $5 million to LaTanya Leviston for leaking a sex tape amid a beef with Rick Ross, with whom Leviston has a daughter. The filing comes close to 2 months after 50 Cent's boxing promotions company SMS Promotions filed for relief under Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code. 50 Cent told E! News, Walt Disney has filed bankruptcy. Donald Trump has filed bankruptcy. It means you're reorganizing your finances, but it does stop things from moving forward that you don't want moving forward. He added, "I got a decent legal team. You don't have to worry." According to the documents, 50 Cent's debts are primarily consumer debts. He reported assets and liabilities ranging from $10 million to $50 million. The Chapter 11 filing against him to reorganize his business interests as opposed to a Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing, which would mean liquidation of his assets. Troubled rapper DMX was sentenced to 6 months in jail on Tuesday night in Buffalo, New York, Billboard has confirmed. The 44-year-old rapper was arrested last month in New York City for failure to pay child support just as he was about to perform at Radio City Music Hall. A spokesperson from the New York City Sheriff's Department told WPIX-TV at the time of his arrest that DMX had $400,000 worth of unpaid child support and a warrant issued by the city of White Plains for bail, jumping, and robbery complaint out of Newark, New Jersey. No charges were filed in the Newark case. The rapper's real name is Earl Simmons. He has been scheduled to perform at the Masters of Ceremony concert at Radio City on June 26 at the time of his arrest. DMX's first 5 albums all debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200's albums charts. X was set to perform at the Shagfest 2015 in Virginia Beach, Virginia on July 25th, so Shaggy took to Twitter to break the bad news to his followers. He tweeted, "It comes with sadness and regret, but DMX will not be attending this year's #Shagfest. He got locked up today for 6 months." And now let's look back at what happened on this date in entertainment history. On this date in 1986, Columbia Records dropped country legend Johnny Cash after 26 years. The critically acclaimed 2002 biopic Walk the Line depicts the life and career of Johnny Cash from his initial rise to stardom in the 50s to his resurgence following a drug-filled decline in the 60s. The selection of this time spawns makes perfect for a Hollywood perspective, but from a historical perspective left out more than half of the story. There was still another dramatic resurgence to come in the second half of Johnny Cash's 50-year career, which reached another low point on this date in 1986 when Columbia Records dropped him from its roster after 26 years of history-making partnership. Columbia first signed Johnny Cash in 1960, using a lucrative contract to lure him away from his Sun Records, his first label and also the early home of Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins. Cash's first Columbia single, All Over Again, made the country top 5, and his second, Don't Take Your Guns to Town, made it all the way to number 1 while also crossing over to the pop top 40. But the biggest hits of Cash's career were yet to come, including an incredible 8 number 1 albums in an 8-year span. Ring of Fire, The Best of Johnny Cash in 1963, I Walk the Line 1964, Johnny Cash's Greatest Hits 1967, At Folsom Prison 1968, At San Quentin 1969, Hello, I'm Johnny Cash 1970, The Johnny Cash Show 1970, and Man in Black in 1971. During this period, Johnny Cash established himself as a titanic figure in American popular culture while selling millions upon millions of records for Columbia. But by the mid-'80s, fashions in country music have shifted dramatically away from his old-school style, and the hits simply stopped coming. In 1986, having also recently been dropped, jazz legend Miles Davis from its roster of artists, Columbia chose to end its no longer profitable relationship with Johnny Cash. Cash did not remain professionally adrift for long, however, releasing 4 original albums and numerous re-recordings of early materials over the next 7 years on Mercury Records. But it was not until 1994 that Cash truly found his creative bearings again. That was the year he released the album American Recordings, the first in a series of albums on the label of the same name, headed by Rick Rubin, the original producer of the Beastie Boys and the co-founder with Russell Simmons of Def Jam Records. Under Rubin's influence, Cash moved to a raw, stripped-down sound that proved to be enormously successful with critics, with country traditionalists, and with hipster newcomers to country music. When his second album, Unchained, won a Grammy Award for Best Country Album in 1998, American Recordings placed a full-page ad in Billboard magazine featuring a 1970 photo of Cash brandishing his middle finger under the sarcastic line of copy, "American Recordings of Johnny Cash would like to acknowledge the Nashville music establishment and country radio for your support." Johnny Cash went on to have 2 more successful solo albums with American Recordings prior to his death in 2003. Also on this date in 1988, Die Hard debuts, making Bruce Willis a movie star. Die Hard, an action film starring Bruce Willis as the wisecracking New York City cop John McClane, opens in theaters across the United States. A huge box office hit, the film establishes Willis as a movie star and spawned 3 sequels. Die Hard also becomes Hollywood shorthand for describing the speed of other action films, as in Speed is Die Hard on the Bus. Based on the Roderick Thorpe novel Nothing Lasts Forever, Die Hard follows McClane as he goes to meet his estranged wife Holly, played by Bonnie Belinda, at her company's holiday party in Los Angeles office building. When the building is taken over by a band of terrorists led by Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman, McClane must single-handedly fight off the bad guys. As played by Willis, McClane was notable as a new type of action hero, funny and flawed. The film, which was directed by John McTiernan, who directed The Hunt for Red October and Last Action Hero, received 4 Oscar nominations for Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Visual Effects, and Best Sound Effects Editing. And on this date in 1997, spree killer Andrew Cunanan murders world-renowned Italian fashion designer Gianni Versace on the steps outside his Miami mansion. Versace was shot twice in the head, and Cunanan fled. Cunanan had no criminal record before the spring of 1997 when he began a killing spree in Minneapolis. On April 27, 1997, after traveling from San Diego, Cunanan bludgeoned Jeffrey Trail to death. Trail was an acquaintance of David Davison, an ex-lover of Cunanan, who Cunanan in turn murdered on May 3rd. Cunanan shot Madsen in the head, dumping his body near a lake outside Minneapolis, and took his red Jeep Cherokee. 2 days later in Chicago, he gained access to the estate of a wealthy developer, Lee McGinnon, beating him to death and stealing his Lexus. On May 9th, Cunanan abandoned Miglin's automobile in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and shot cemetery caretaker William Reese to death for his red pickup truck. With a massive FBI manhunt Cunanan already underway, he drove down to Miami Beach, and on July 11 was recognized by a fast food employee who had seen his picture on the television show America's Most Wanted. However, the police arrived too late, and 4 days later Cunanan shot Versace to death outside his South Beach mansion. Although Cunanan and Versace were both openly gay and ran in similar circles, the police failed to find evidence that they ever met. Versace's killing set off a nationwide manhunt for Cunanan, who was famous for his chameleon-like ability to appear differently in every picture taken of him. However, on July 23rd, the search ended just 40 blocks away from Versace's home on a 2-level houseboat that Cunanan had broke into. There, police found him dead from a self-inflicted bullet wound from the same gun that took the lives of 2 of his victims. He left no suicide note. And as your entertainment report for Wednesday, July 15, 2015, I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo. I'll be back tomorrow to deliver some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo. That's RAYMELO, or on Twitter @The Enter Report. You can listen to this episode or any previous episodes of The Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Good night, and God bless you all.